Dan RadioStyle. It's been a little while since I've done one of these quote teacher videos, and of course it's good for anybody, but this is a little more on the intermediate to advanced side, maybe. I don't know, just saying. Every once in a while I kind of have these little moments where I'm like, ooh, yeah, this is probably a good thing to maybe share with other people. So kind of the difference between precognition or visions versus manifesting. Things kind of happen frequently. I was having an experience recently, in fact, where I was kind of something popped into my head and I saw it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's probably something that's going to happen. But it's not happening because I saw it. It popped into my head, kind of telling me it's probably happening. So a lot of times it's that whole, did that thing that I just thought about, like it just popped into your head and then it happens, right? That happens to a lot of us. Maybe so-and-so popped into your head and then they text you, right? Those kinds of moments where it hits you and then it happens. You didn't manifest that. That's not quite how that works. I know some people are probably going to debate me on that, and that's fine. But when things like that happen, when it pops into your head, when it kind of comes out of nowhere, that's precognition. That's one of the cool little things that happens that kind of starts to prove to us that there's a depth to our spiritual lives, that there's a connection spiritually with other people around us, that there's an energetics that keeps us all connected. As I frequently say, our higher selves talk to each other every day, and they do. Absolutely, no question about that. Higher selves do get out there and talk. So some of the big differences between how these things happen. When it hits you out of the blue. Now, this can happen with thought transmissions of another person. Maybe they're thinking of you, right? This can happen if something's about to occur in your life. This can happen if there is something that's currently in your potential future. You might pick up on. You might have a strange little vision of an occurrence that's going to happen, maybe with someone, maybe a specific person, maybe whatever. But it'll hit you out of the blue. You'll be folding your laundry and boom, it'll hit you. You'll be writing down some, boom, it'll hit you. You'll be making a sandwich. I'm like, oh, some bologna. Bam, I wonder if so-and-so's doing, what? Where'd that come from? It'll hit you. It's not the same as when you're thinking about someone or thinking about like, I wonder what kind of show I should do. And then, oh yeah, I could do something on manifesting. And you're like, ooh, what about, so, right? Like thoughts that lead to other thoughts it's different in that case. That's not like a vision. That's not something that's coming at you as a precognition, if you will. These things will happen like that. The second you focus and think about it, you kind of lose it already. And a lot of the times, you'll forget them almost as soon. It's almost like a dream, right? Sometimes if you don't write that dream down right off the bat, sometimes you can't remember it moments after you wake up. You're like, I want that dream back. It was like 5 minutes ago, and I can't remember what happened. Precognition will come to us in that way. And when you're kind of open to it, when you start to pay attention to it, well, and certainly when we start to clean and clear and align our chakras, you'll start to notice this even more and more. You'll start to realize you're connected to a lot of things, and you'll start to have a lot of fun with these avenues as well. You'll start to notice the differences it makes when you're kind of aware and open, and you're certainly moving in directions. I mean, inspired action will hit you this way sometimes, like, ooh, I need to do such and such, or ooh, I should send so-and-so an email, or ooh, right? It'll pop into your head. Same kind of concept, same place that these things are coming from. It's inspired, it's coming from your soul, coming from your higher self, coming from wherever. And it's giving you the opportunity to make adjustments. It's giving you an opportunity to know what's coming. It's giving you an insight, a glimmer into your potential future world. And this can happen too when you think you're a specific person, right? Again, if you're imagining them right now, if you're thinking about them right now, if you just saw something that reminded you of them, that's not, like if you saw a license plate with their initials and then you start thinking, that's not the same. Like if something physical happens, that's more a sign to indicate to you about them. It's when it comes into your head like out of blue. That's a different story. Like you didn't see a license plate. You were just driving and you looked at the person behind you. You're like, I got a green light coming in. And you're like, oh, dude, so-and-so. Wow. Oh, wow. I really do love you. Like, and it hits you out of the blue. That's probably a thought transmission in that case, right? If I see a license plate and then some thought pops into my head, that's probably related to that. Stronger chance that's tied to your thinking process. Again, hard to be black and white with this. These are the things that we kind of got to play with. You'll start to feel the difference. The stuff that hits you, it will just hit you. It doesn't belong in your head. It doesn't fit. It's not what you expected to find. Yet there it is. When you think about it, oftentimes you'll go down a whole slew of different paths. Again, what hit you is solid. When you start thinking about it, you're already changing it. You're applying your filters. You're applying your understanding of the way the world works. You're applying all sorts of very conventional, three-dimensional, very physical, limiting thought processes when something very non-three-dimensional occurred. So precognition, visions, thought transmissions, they're going to hit you. They'll pop into you. You'll feel them. You'll get chills sometimes. Something kind of, and it's different. It's not a flow. It's not part of your thought process. It's not you thinking. It's something that, again, out of the blue. I hope this helps. I know it's confusing for a lot of people, and I can already hear some of the people that are maybe more grappling with some of the more beginner aspects of law of attraction and energetics and all these things. I could see a lot of the questions that are bound to come, and that's fine. But these big differences, and those that are kind of on the teacher side, these things have happened to you. I know they have. And they're good. And that's kind of, I want you to pay attention to them. I want you to start to realize what it was. I want you to maybe even start to journal some of the things that it's suggesting, because you will be amazed and surprised, probably, at the way some of these things start to unfold, maybe immediately, maybe within a short period of time, but it was a one-thought thing. You don't continue thinking about it. Right? Popped into my head. I'm not still thinking about it. The thing that popped into my head last night, I'm not still thinking about it. It's not something that I'm trying to manifest. It's not something I want to manifest, but it's something that I saw very clearly as a vision almost, if you will. And I realized that's probably going to come to pass. And that's okay. I'm all right with it. It was kind of a cool thing that popped into my head. So I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. So things are going to show themselves. You're going to connect with other people. You're going to get sensations sometimes about certain things. There's a whole slew of opening ourselves up to this sensitivity and getting used to it and playing with it and getting more and more accurate as you practice with it, as you allow it. And really, it's one of those things where you can't do it. I can't just make a vision pop into my head. But when they do, it's pretty impressive. Now, you can get into meditations. You can get into where you ask, hey, I'd like to see, give me an indication of what's coming up. Maybe give me an idea of where I'm going to be in a month, right? And then you can go into kind of a meditative stance or trance, and you can kind of allow whatever to happen. You still focus on your breathing. You're not focused on having a vision, but things will pop into your head sometimes. So again, there's some ways that you can kind of get around it. Sometimes using tarot cards or different other card techniques. I've used solitaire, for that matter, for years. I mean, I've got a deck of tarot cards, done plenty of throws myself, but typically I do solitaire because it's easier. I've got a solitaire application on my computer. Just flip it up, answer my questions, kind of gets me focused on something else. So it gets that left part of my brain, if you will, that logic part of my brain. It keeps it busy. So the other part of my brain can be a little more receiving of what's out there. So there's ways that you can keep yourself busy, and that is why oftentimes when you're doing something that you're focused on, cutting the crust off your sandwich, for example, right? And you're like, I don't want to cut too much of the bread. I just want that damn crust. I don't like the crust. I like crust, frankly, but whatever, right? And while you're focused on that, left side of the brain is very, precision cuts. The right side of the brain's like, hey, did you know that you're going to bump into so-and-so this one time? Here's a vision of it. And you're like, whoa, what the hell was that? Let me go back to cutting my crust. Wow, right? Like, it'll pop in, it'll hit you. And that is where the magic really begins. When more of us can get more comfortable from that standpoint, where more of us can try to experience or try to enjoy those experiences or appreciate those experiences when they happen, the more those experiences tend to occur. You'll get more and more of them as you kind of open up to them, as you allow them, as you start to recognize them. It'll happen more and more. And it is a very good indicator that you're kind of aligning your chakras in a good way. It's a good indicator. Hopefully this helps. I think this is my third teacher type one I've done. And again, they're more on the spiritual side, less on the coaching and being like, I'm not trying to teach people how to coach law of attraction. There's all sorts of programs out there. You can pay people gobs of money and they'll walk you through all this stuff. And they got books and they got, all sorts of stuff. That's not my thing. hoping to make you all better spiritual teachers, which will make you better coaches. That just kind of ties in that way, but that's more my focus. Anyway, damn radio style. It's one of the many weird things about me. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy. We'll do more weird shows, from here and there. This one's just one every once in a while, and I do it. They're not super popular, but the people that do respond to them tend to like them, so it is what it is. Hopefully you guys enjoy. We'll definitely do more shows, and throw some comments in there and some of the other stuff that you're curious about. And by the way, and if it's more of a beginner question, I might not acknowledge it so much because, again, this is more of an intermediate thing. If you're still working on some of the basics, don't worry about this yet. You'll get here. Don't worry, but don't try to run before you can walk. Make sure you can walk first, and then you'll start to notice other things. Because if you've got all this other stuff going on, or all these fears and all this lack of self-worth and all this other stuff, it will create stuff inside your head. Thoughts will pop into your head. And generally, they're going to be the thoughts that are more negative, more self-sabotaging, more I'm not good enough. Your higher self is never going to tell you things that aren't of love. If you're getting anything other than that, it's your own ego talking. It's not your higher self. So again, when you're more of a beginner, you're going to get more ego stuff than you will actual spiritual stuff. As you start to move through some of that, you'll actually get more of the spiritual stuff and less of the ego stuff. And that is one of the other ways you can truly tell how you're doing on this process. The ego is something that you've got to get used to paying attention to. It's the part that gets all butthurt for stupid things. And it's the part that will actually mess you up because it's the one that cares. Like, it's the one that's trying to save itself in all cases. I'm not wrong, you're wrong. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter who's wrong. This is what happened. Here's where we are. Boom, done, good. I've learned from it. I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, but you're not wrong. Yeah, okay, fine. I'm not wrong, but I still did something that didn't really benefit me the way I'd like to. I'm going to do it different in the future. And that's when the ego's like, all right, fine, whatever. So trying to get the ego to be where it belongs, handle the things it's designed to handle, like should I make a left turn or a right turn, or oh my God, that person's about to get in trouble, or whatever, right? Like, those things are great. Spiritual stuff, ego needs to stay the heck out of it. It's not very good in those arenas. Hopefully this helps. Thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe. Please share. All those great things. It's the difference between precognition or visions and manifesting. It's Dan Radio Style. Thanks, everyone.